at VCF Southwest, I was able to pick up a Trs-80 Model II computer along with the external drive chassis. The Model II appears in the 79 catalog and is specifically marketed for business use only. With a price tag that is equivalent to over $16,000 in today's money, it was built to a much higher spec than the pre-existing Model 1, even though they both are based on the Z80 processor. The Model 2 has either 32 or 64K of RAM, the Z80 CPU, and a 8-inch floppy disk drive. The expansion chassis offers slots for up to 3 more. So here we have the Trs-80 Model II that I got from the VCF auction. Physically, it looks in pretty decent condition. We don't have the keyboard, which attaches here. This cable is permanently installed. And we don't have any 8-inch floppy disk yet, but we will. So until that time, this first look at it will simply be to do a quick internal inspection and maybe even try the initial power on this time. What I was told before we bought it was that the cards were in the wrong order according to the person who donated it. So we'll open this up and see what's going on the inside. Since I got this from the auction and I believe it had been at least inspected, I don't expect there to be any serious problems with this, like major capacitor problems in the power supply. As I go through this, I'm going to be kind of referring back to a lot of documentation, but also to Adrian Black's videos where he had one of these that was in much worse condition and was able to restore it to full operation. So I'm hoping that this one should be a lot less work than that was. So I'm going to turn it around and let's just take a look on the inside and see what we're working with. Alright, the top's already a little bit loose. I noticed that on the way home, but hopefully there's not any kind of damage. It looks like there's just 2 screws holding it in place. So I'll take this screwdriver right here and see if we can just get it open. One of these screws have a washer in place, and one doesn't. I'm not sure if these are original screws. These things on the shelf. That's a long screw. Oh, no, you got it. Okay. Back we've got, look at the disk expansion. We have the expansion chassis. Pair of channel 2 serial fuse and power. This comes off rather easily. Gently slide some of this stuff to the side. Alright, so the inside actually looks pretty reasonable. So there are 4 boards, which is correct. I was told they were in the wrong order, and I know from Adrian's videos that the order is important on these boards. So we're going to take a quick on the camera here and take a look on the inside. We've got the main power board here. It's a little bit dusty, but nothing too serious. We've got the analog board for the monitor section. Down there is the main power input. There's a pretty large fan in the bottom that's pulling in air. We've got 4 cards in the card cage, room for 4 more. And we have the 8-inch floppy drive. Now, interesting thing about this beast is that it runs, along with DC power, it also runs directly off the main 120 volts AC for the motor. So the whole time that the computer's on, that motor's going. Now there's the power switches, and I'm just not, I can see that's why this switch doesn't have like much of a click to it. And I guess that's just how the switch is designed. It's not broken or anything like I was afraid of. It's just, now look here at the reset switch. That is broken. I can see the part of it just kind of hanging loose there. I'm not too scared of that. We can repair that. So nothing too scary on the inside. Interesting kind of bodge business going on here into the CRT connection. You've got a couple of resistors just hanging out there, some sort of lamp just attached. This all might be factory. That's just kind of how they rolled back then. You got an RCA tube. So what I'm going to do is, I think, pull out the cards in order and try to take a look at what we've got here and see what the correct order is, and just hopefully that is the case. Now I see here some serial numbers, model numbers that might help me out. There could be in this computer one of two types of RAM boards, a 32K or 64K. And then there would be a CPU board, a disk controller board, and a video board that also is what takes in the input from the keyboard. I see here, it looks like the disk controller is the second board. I think I'll have to go back and look through my notes because I think that is wrong. Not sure what this is. It's probably CPU board, but that's as I go into serials. Some of these connectors look like they're sort of glued on, so I'm not real sure until I get this off and get a good look at it, just what we're dealing with. Alright, so ready to start trying to remove these cards. Start once I sort of film each one as it comes out, so I can know the order they came in. So first I have this board. The first board is the video board that has two cables connecting to it. One, the keyboard cable, and the other one goes over to the analog board to output to the monitor. Next we have the RAM board. These were available in either 32 or 64K. This particular board is the 64K model. There were some additional RAM boards eventually available, but I think those were related to the later upgrades for the 16 and 6000 that would give you RAM for the 6800 second processor that you could add. Next we have the floppy drive controller. This board connects both to the internal drive and to the external connector. These are daisy chained, and depending on which model of controller you have, might require a resistor on the outside of the machine if you don't have the external drive interface box. This board also provides the parallel port on the back of the machine. Next is the CPU board, containing the Z80 processor, the supporting chips, and it also provides the serial interface for the serial ports on the back of the unit. There were some additional processor upgrades available for the machine. These added a 6800 processor that worked alongside the Z80 while running Xenix, which was a Unix-based operating system provided by Microsoft. In the standard configuration, you have the options of TRS-DOS and CP/M, which did provide a lot of software options. Next, I powered it on with the cards removed to test out the power supply. Left the screen and drive plugged in as the service manual warns not to run the power supply with no load on it.
Yes. We got power. Alright. So, no raster, but no smoke. Fine. Okay, we'll turn it off. We'll tweak the brightness and contrast a little bit. Alright. So no fire, no obvious signs of reefadom. Let's give her another.
The screen did not turn on during this test. I'm not sure if it was because of the brightness and contrast controls being too low or because of the video input not being provided. As you'll see later, it turns out that the screen is working.
Alright, now it's time to go ahead and start putting the boards back in. First up is the CPU card. What should we do in this first slot? Or there could be slots. I have to be in the first slot of the board. So plug in this, plug in serial connections. This is that resistor. Don't leave it now. There's a possibility maybe, well, don't put the possibility stuck in the closed position. So I don't think that's how it works. Okay, so plug in, you can see it when you move this channel. Looking for the switch. Seems to work. Putting it up, slide contacts down to where these, when they contact there and close that circuit. So it's in closed circuit reset, which means that it would, it should turn into plug in. So like it's stuck in storage position where it's normally upload, storage, so it's plug in now. So that's a good thing. I plug this in out like this. I'm sure there's a software that's going to properly get differently. And then, this is harder. This is the also on the next from memory. So then we go to 79 because the hardware wants to see it perfectly. So this is like 79 model here. And the original model 2 configuration for high it doesn't match up with the long for things keyboard. Two messages. Here is how much next where. So I will make those connections. So that keyboard down there. And this is just straight cables hanging up front. Wires up to this first off connector here. This one is the top, so video on the bottom. As far as what the wiring was, it's pretty easy to trace out the system. This one, you need to be a little careful about touching anything in this part of the world, because there aren't enough parts to pass it over there. Alright, so plug it back in. Everything else pairs, plug it in. Next time we put extra bit of cardboard in this case. So everything can slack together and change this way, but I don't want to take chances with unattained 70s components. So it's not little plastic notches here, the foam cushion. We're on there. On this is porch line. We're in this. Clear daytime out here. We're up. It's one more time. Then we'll be super tight. Who knows how much reason to take it out again? I'll plug it in. Everything's plugged in. It's clear simple. So I'm going to turn her around, plug her in, see if we get any output. Let's see. Turn this around. Alright. Going to move the camera. We're going to see what we can do here.
carefully go for it. Okay, we've got things firing up. As far as the floppy drive, that's fully independent of any logic. That's just straight AC going to that. There is no beeper to tell me that it's posted or not. There's nothing on the screen at all. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh, I just had to turn this right, give it full power, and look at that. Insert diskette. That's beautiful. That is just perfect. Alright, that's exactly what I want to see. That's 100% a good result. So maybe I just didn't have the brightness up right. There's not much more I can do, actually, until I get the keyboard adapter that I ordered, which is currently lost by FedEx, or an official keyboard, which I don't foresee acquiring in the near future. I also need a boot disk. So there are a few sources where I can acquire at least one boot disk. And there are other options, of course. So I can get a Gotek, which is probably a likely thing in the future. Also, I can get a high density 5 1/4 drive and adapt it to function with this. The drive protocols between these original Shugart drives and what was used by IBM is not much different, but the physical wiring is very different, and there's one signal that is an issue. Other than that, they're pretty close to the same. So it's certainly possible to adapt a 5 1/4 drive to these Trs-80 systems, and if it's high density, it'll actually write to the drive. I won't use the whole capacity, but as far as the computer is concerned, it will be identical to one of its built-in drives. That may be something I do with that 3-drive interface I have. Since I have only 2 drives in there, there's an empty slot, which I might use for that, since 5 1/4 discs are still readily obtainable and 8-inch ones are very expensive. But this is overall, I would say, a great success. And I'm going to go ahead power that down so I don't push my luck. So it looks like I have a fully working unit here. I do have the issue of the broken reset key, which I don't think will be a problem in the near term, and I should be able to source a replacement for that from one of the electronic distributors. The other issues I need to take care of course, is getting some software to run on it, to boot with, and a keyboard. I have a old Tandy 1000 keyboard on the way. From my understandings, from what I've read online, the protocol that they used in these computers is the same from the Model II to the Tandy 2000 to the Tandy 1000. It's just the actual connectors that are different. So I should be able to make an adapter to fit. And I've ordered a newly minted diagnostic disc from eBay that should be here soon. So hopefully in the next week or so I'll be able to do a full test on the system. The only thing I'm questioning is if I need that terminating resistor for the floppy drives, or maybe I need to go ahead and plug the external drive chassis in for everything to work. Thanks to everybody at VCF and the donor who put this up for auction, and everyone watching. Hope to see you on the next one.